So, hi everyone. Welcome to the Spring A cst370 class, Monterey Day, and online program. Okay, and thank you everyone for joining on a Saturday morning this orientation session. So we have really two main parts for today. One is the first half is really the self-introduction. And I'm going to start from myself, then all of you will have a chance to talk about yourself. And the second part is going to go over the course, some syllabus, some requirements. And in the end, I also prepared a short list, to-do list for you to work on before get ready before the start of the class on January 2nd. So let me first start with myself. And first of all, my name is pronounced as Fei Ling. And you can just call me Fei Ling. That's what everybody else has called me. And it sounds very familiar to me. And I graduated from UC Davis Computer Science Department with a PhD degree in 1993. I spent 5 years over there, like from 1988 to 1993. Finally got my degree there. And before 1988, I was in China with a school called Fudan University. I'm not sure any of you familiar with that. It's one of the kind of like top 5 schools in China. And I spent 9 years over there in the computer science department between 1979 and 1988, before I came to UC Davis. 4 years to get my bachelor's degree there, and 3 years to get my master's degree there, all in the computer science, plus 2 years, and teaching there after getting the master's degree. So the type of computer I worked with during that period of time between 1979 and 1980, you won't find it anywhere today. But there's one place you can find and experience those old-age computer. That's the Computer History Museum in San Jose area. And if you happen to be in the area, that's highly recommended. And even if you're not in the area, they have a website, Computer History Museum, with a wealth of online information, videos, pictures, tests. And it's really, really helpful to learn the root of computer science, where it came from, how it evolved over time. And one of the things I found over there is the first IBM desktop PC, and that I worked with when I was in China. And in 1986, it has a 10 megabyte, the hard disk drive has a 10 megabyte capacity, the hard disk drive. So now in UC Davis, right? So we primary language is C, and the primary machine that we used is a Unix machine and shared by all the students. Well, each of us gets a terminal, a shared terminal, not a computer, right? So, and also we learned, first, very early concept of object-oriented programming through a language called Smalltalk, which is really the early version of the C++ and all the other object-oriented programming. Now, many, many things have changed since, over the 20 plus years, right, in the computing industry. But some of the fundamentals that really remain the same. Like the C languages, even though it evolved a lot, it's still widely used. The Unix system, right, it's also evolved a lot, but it's still being widely used, evolving to Linux, and also the, like Mac is Unix based as well. So many of these fundamentals are also, and algorithm learned even during the school 20 plus years ago, still benefit a lot, even to this day. Okay. Now, after graduation in 1993, I started my career primarily in the networking and telecom industry. and started, my first job was at the Pacific Bell. Not sure how many of you remember that. It is a telephone company serving California, Nevada area. It's one of the 7 regional Bell companies, telephone company. The whole United States is divided into 7 regions, and each region is served by one telephone company called Baby Bell. Now, over the next few years, one of the babies growing bigger, Southwestern Bell, covering Texas, Kansas area, and it bought Pacific Bell. So, and then over time, it becomes bigger and made more acquisitions. And finally, it bought AT&T. AT&T was considered the Ma Bell, the mother of all the Baby Bell. And so essentially, today's AT&T is one of the Baby Bell. It's basically, SBC bought AT&T and renamed it as AT&T because AT&T has better brand recognition than SBC. So I'm now working at the AT&T lab. It's really basically the same place and same group of people. But however, in between 1993 and the current, over the last 20 plus years, I also left a couple of times actually, and worked for a small startup company. Very startup company, I think it's probably 3 to 4. One of them, went public, and one of them got acquired, and 2 of them just closed the door. So if any of you plan to start up a new company and would like to learn some experiences from me, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to share. And one of the things which is funny is, I heard, Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer said once, he said, if you want to know whether a startup company is going to be successful or not, just go to their office on Saturday and see if anybody is working there. If anybody is working there, then the chance of success is very high. If nobody is working there, that company is not going to be successful. But my experience actually is the opposite. The one company, one of the 4 that I worked for, went public. That's the one that actually I spent least amount of time. And I don't remember I worked over the weekend for that company, and that turned out to be the most successful one. And the other company that I spent a lot of time working, 7 days a week, like 12 hours, 16 hours a day, they go nowhere. So you never know. It's sometimes the opportunity, the luck, the market condition all come into play. Okay, so enough about that. If you have any questions, feel free to jump in. So also throughout my career, I teach various computer science courses on and off, at my spare time. And whenever, my job is, feasible, like when I work for startup companies, there's no time for that, of course. But when I was, with Pacific Bell or AT&T, then I have some, my own time in the evening, weekend that I, use to teach computer science classes whenever, there's feasible, opportunities. And most recently, I taught several classes at San Jose State University. Okay. And now when this opportunity came up, I found it very interesting because it's taught online. And I really think that the online education is going to be gaining more, traction. It's with all the tools we have. Even when I was just teaching regular class, I think I spent more time helping students outside the class than actually in the class. And also students' attendance in the class these days are not required. So, a lot of the things can be done easily, effectively over online with the in-classroom. And plus, you're never going to miss the class, right? So you don't have to worry about that. And same for the office hour. Not many students show up during my office hour. I guess they don't just want to spend 1 hour driving to the campus and just ask one question, right? So I think this online program is very attractive, and our goal is to make it as effective and making the experience as similar to the regular class as possible, maybe even better. Okay, so you will have to let us know. So, any question on me?
I have a quick question. So the website for the classes you want us to use, Visual Studio, is there any specific version or year of Visual Studio that you want us to use?
No, but I would recommend the latest, and I installed just try the latest one from the Microsoft website. I think there's a free version called Video Studio Community 2015, and that worked fine, and it's freely available.
Okay, thank you.
And if you need a link, let me know. I can send the link to you.
Yeah, would you mind posting that link in the on iLearn for everybody?
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Also the link for the textbook brings up a not found page.
Link for the textbook. So let's go to the. You mean on the island?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I will show you that. We'll go there when we go over the island.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just any question about me you want to know, All right, I think it's enough. Like I talked too much already. It's your turn. So please, you've probably been through this many times, just share your news, your interest, any feedback. Well, what do you hope for, from this program, or anything? Yeah, I'll start from the upper left,
Oh, you said me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brian.
I guess I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I thought I heard my name. Obviously, I think everybody else has known enough from these orientations. But for you specifically, I'm a digital effects artist. I work in the film business. I've been doing this for about 20 years since I graduated I already have a degree from Cal State Northridge back in '96 in theater, doing lighting and sound design. So this is my second degree. My goal is to actually leave the film business and become a software engineer or computer programmer. I'm not quite sure where I want to go, although I'm enjoying doing front-end development right now, so I might continue with that. Plus, I can apply some of my visual skills to that. So I've really enjoyed that. I do enjoy technology. As you can see, I'm creating a data center in my house. I'm wiring up my house for Ethernet and creating a network at home. So I'm enjoying doing that. The program has been challenging. I mean, cramming 16 weeks of work in an 8-week period over and over and over again has been very tough, especially with a full-time job, and I'm sure I'm not the only one to attest to that. I think, to be honest, I think sometimes the expectations of how much we can get done in such a short period of time, I think, are not quite matching reality. And I think sometimes in some of these classes, it's been a bit tough to keep up with the material and actually absorb and learn something because the pace is so quick. An example that's been kind of bothering me, and I'm not going to speak for the rest of my classmates, but for me in particular was the Java class. We had 2 classes ago. We had 5 group projects in 5 weeks. Yeah, and the problem I have with that is I'm learning Java. So I never did Java before. I'm still trying to get comfortable with object-oriented stuff. And to try to keep up with the actual material, to learn the material before I can apply it to a group project, I couldn't. I literally had to skip reading the material and jump right into the group project on a weekly basis just to get it done. And then I ended up relying on one of my classmates who had more experience with that for us to get through the group projects. And to me, that's kind of counterintuitive to a learning process. I would rather that we spent most of those projects as individual projects so we could actually learn the material and then maybe apply 1 or 2 group projects at the end of the class. And I think that would have been a better effective way of learning the material as an individual. Because I do understand the idea of group, the collaboration process, and I know that programming should be collaborative. I get that. But when we're still learning the fundamentals and we don't even have the fundamentals down, you can't run before you learn how to walk. And I feel like we're expected to run, but we haven't even walked yet. So that's been my biggest criticism of the program. I do enjoy everybody I've worked with, including the professors. Everybody's been wonderful, and I have learned a lot, but that's been my biggest concern of so far.
Yeah. I also find that this class is very intense. The amount of work that you need to do, I think it's around 15 to 20 hours. I went through most of the material because from the previous class, this has been taught once online. And it is quite intense. You're basically, combining the about 15-week worth of material into 8 weeks. Okay. However, each week I will go into details in the second half of this session. However, I think the way it is structured is that every week you will have a part of the learning and part of the exercise. It's not like a big group project that you need to work on right away. Okay. So it is very well structured, but it is intense. It requires a lot of work. I agree with that. I think maybe they're also considering a 15-week version of the class later in the future. Maybe it's a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, next is Wendy.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm still Wendy, and I still work for a Wendy's franchise. So you need to remember me. It's just Wendy who works at Wendy's. Although I work from home, I do admin and data organization for them using Google Drive and Google Scripts. So that's kind of nice that I can program for my job, although it's not. That's not my job title. But I'm looking forward to this course. I've taken data structures and algorithms before as well. So I'm hoping I can, build off of that nicely. Yeah.
So which area you're located?
Oh, I'm located in Santa Clarita, which is about an hour north of main Los Angeles.
Okay. Thank you. Next, Ken.
Hey guys, so I'm Ken. I was a system administrator here in Santa Monica for it was about 7 years, and then I stopped and became a stay-at-home dad for my kids when they were born, and I've been doing that for about actually 6 years now. So I'm actually really eager to get back to work. So, but I've taken a data structures class, but that was probably about 1.5 years ago, and it was also C++ based. But I'm pretty sure my C++ is going to be pretty rusty at this point. I haven't done any programming in that basically since that class ended. So.
Okay, but you have some fundamentals experience and learn.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm hopeful that it will come back pretty quickly.
Yeah. So good. All right, thank you. Next, William.
Hi, William.
Hi.
I'm actually at work right now. I work as a systems engineer associate in the enterprise infrastructure department over here at E&J Gallo over in the Central Valley. I'm right now, my main task here at work is event and process automation. I don't have much to very little experience with C++. Most of my programming experience has been in Java and other Java type languages. I know there's some fundamental differences like pointers and stuff like that that I've heard from other people that use that language. So I look forward to learning that stuff. I have noticed that a lot of the programming languages, it's easy to go from one to the other once you understand the process flow of it and the logic behind it. I eventually want to, be in programming, software development, engineering, that sort of thing. Because, as far as being a systems engineer, I don't know, it gets very tedious. I like, the aha moments of programming. So, I love solving puzzles, and, I'm not so much into, configuration and automation and stuff like that, but I get to do a little bit of programming, doing the automation part. So I enjoy that.
Oh, good. You're in the right place.
Yeah.
So you actually work on Saturday?
Yeah.
Is it a startup?
No, it's been around since the end of Prohibition, since 1933.
Oh, that's not a startup.
Yeah, it's a privately owned company. It's actually the world's largest winery, a single location, but they have wineries all up and down California and all around the world. Australia, Europe, even I believe they have some Russian River winery, some Germany stuff. I mean, pretty much everywhere.
Oh, nice. And so the other thing you touched upon is about the programming language, right? If you know Java, the object-oriented program concept is similar, the C++ and Java, the class stuff. And the other one that actually, if you don't have C++ experience, the other one which is going to be very helpful if you have used the C before. Mm-hmm. Then from C and to plus some OOP concept, then it'll be very easy to pick up C++. And this textbook has several chapters, explaining C++ very, very well. This is very helpful if you want to learn C++, brushing up your C++ skills. And several chapters in this textbook is very helpful, and plus some other online resources that you can go, and the link is provided on the island as well. So one of the to-do list actually before the start of the class. Thank you, William. Next, Brittany.
Hi. So I live in LA, and I went to a boot camp in 2013 to learn web programming and ended up getting a job with that. So I've been a web developer for the last few years, working at the same company. We're contracted out by other companies to build web applications. And I guess I came through this program, I just wanted to fill my gaps in my knowledge and I guess get people to take me seriously. Pretty much.
I'm a real CS graduate, right?
Sorry, what was that?
So I'm a real CS graduate. People will take it up very seriously.
Yeah, it matters to some companies.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you, I work for telephone company, Pacific Bell, right? And usually when Pacific Bell, this telephone company hire people, they hire more people with electrical engineering background. So I was one of the few CS graduates they hired all of those early days. And but these days it changed. So when we hire new people, we want CS degree. We don't look at the EE degree much more. So it is very important and heavily weighted in job searching as well. You're in the right place, that's for sure.
Thanks.
And thank you. Next is Chris.
Hi, my name is Chris Dixon. You guys probably all know me except for the professor. I'm living in Corona, which is about an hour southeast of LA. and good traffic, if there's no traffic, which is really rare. But that's where I live. I work for a public library.
That is rare.
Yeah. I work for a public library, so I don't, technically work in the industry. I've had, some opportunities to do some, report writing with SQL, a lot of that actually. I've written a few little small apps to parse, text reports and extract numbers out of them and then add them up and stuff, because a lot of what I do is calculating, the statistics for the month. So I guess I've used my programming skills in that area, but I really don't work in the industry, and a lot of these concepts that we learn here have been brand new to me. And kind of echoing Brian a little bit, I understand his frustration because these courses are really short, and a lot of topics are thrown at us, and a lot of projects are due, and then I feel it seems like you spend more of your time just trying to get your project to work rather than kind of absorbing everything with all the material. So it is tough, but I've learned a lot, and I'm thankful for that. So I love technology. I love all aspects of it, from electrical stuff to object-oriented programming and networking and stuff. So I'm really, it's always been one of my core interests. And also, what Brian said about Java, having to learn Java, that was tough for me too, because, growing up, I used to subscribe to magazines that would publish programs in BASIC. And if any of you ever used BASIC, it's a completely different paradigm.
Yeah.
You don't have any objects. You don't even have to declare data types.
That's why it's called a basic.
Yeah. So when I finally got exposed to object-oriented programming, it just seemed like it was creating more work than was necessary. Why do you need a class for everything? Why do you need, I was like, where are the line numbers?
Yeah.
Why do you have to indent? It was very confusing to me. So it took me a long time to unlearn, those old habits. And it's funny because when I took my architecture class and we studied assembler, it actually felt familiar to me, because you had the jump statements and it was more lower level. So it reminded me of BASIC.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the architecture class for that reason. And then plus we got to, build little projects, electronic projects like adders and stuff, full adders and counters and stuff. So I like that. But, I hope to get a job in the industry, programming, software development soon, someday. So that's me.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of opportunities, and particularly around my area in Silicon Valley. I'm sure there are a lot in Southern California as well, but in the Silicon Valley there are also a lot of
Yeah.
And all right, thank you, Chris. And next, Christina. You're in Palm Springs, right?
Yes. So I live in Palm Springs. I work at a medical office right now. I'm hoping to be a programmer, software engineer. I've always really enjoyed doing programming. I think I started with programming type stuff when I was like making little websites when I was like 10 or 11. I was doing HTML, and it's kind of grown from that. And my very first actual programming language that I learned was C++, and also the data structures class I took combined OOP and data structures, and it was in C++. And we did use Visual Studio for it, so I think that should be helpful going into this class. And I look forward to taking this class and, programming in C++ again and learning more about algorithms.
All right, you should have an easy start then.
Hopefully. I'm hoping.
But still, the amount of work is still there. The assignment still.
Yeah, I understand what Brian was saying too, because when we took our Java class, it was my first experience with Java, so I had kind of the same thing of trying to learn as we went along. So this one, hopefully, I already know the language, so hopefully it'll be a little bit more familiar.
That helps. That will help, definitely. Thank you. I do have another icon there with a telephone number with no video. I'm sure there's somebody, or there's just
Maybe it's just someone crashing the party.
just somebody.
Maybe you need to unmute them, Professor. I don't know if you can unmute yourself with a phone. Can you do that? I guess
Myself?
no. The student. Can
The
you?
student is unmuted.
Oh, they're muted. They're self-muted. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a telephone.
Well, maybe they're not listening.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
George, hello.
714. That's Orange County. So
Yeah, I know. They're in the same time zone, so.
Okay. All right, so we're doing well, and so thank you very much for sharing your experiences and introduction. So before we get to the second part, which is the overview of the class, and then we'll go to the island, and I have a few points to highlight, and let's take a 5-minute break. Okay, so right now is 10:33, so let's start at 10:38.
Sounds good.
Okay, you can feel free to grab a cup of coffee and take a break, breathe the air a little bit. And,
The cold air.
It's cold out here.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, see you in 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes is over. It passed fast, 5 minutes.
No kidding.
So not even a cup of coffee.
I got 2 breaths in there. That was about it. The third one I had to cut short. So
Let's see. How about William? You're back. Chris. Chris, Ken, you're back. Just Chris. Ken. Okay. All right. I think let's start. So the second part of today's session is really an overview of this class. And before I go to iLearn, I just want to share a couple of points about the algorithm in general. Hopefully, it will get you, more motivated in spending time and effort learning the algorithm. So let me share my screen and just show you just. Can you see this?
yes.
Okay, great. So here is just a few things like why algorithm, okay? So first of all, algorithm is really the core of computer science. It touches every aspect of computer science. And these days, more and more things that used to be done by a human is going to be done by a machine. And the machine will follow the algorithm that a human being designed. So algorithm is going to be in more and more place. And something can be very complex, like a self-driving car and so on. Make sure the algorithm works really well. And some examples of algorithms it can control the brain of a robot, encrypting a massive stock trade. A lot of the stock trading also be automated. I'll show you one example next. Simulating some ecosystem and attacking the direct lost computer, hacking to some people's computer and so on. Algorithm is there, okay. And the work on algorithm is really about obsessively inventing, testing, debugging, improving algorithm. It's not about I come up with one algorithm and solving a problem and that's it, I'm done. There's a process, that involves, for creating, testing, debugging, and improving again, okay? And another point is algorithm questions are always a very popular question in many interviews, particularly if you're looking for a software development job, because the algorithm is really the basics for any type of software development. And there will be some sample interview questions covered in this class, and then we'll show you how to solve them in different ways. And of course, during the interview, the employer typically will expect you come up with a good, efficient solution, right? So, but there could be many other alternatives, but not as efficient as the one they're looking for. Why, and so on. So we'll have some example, really good, materials on that. And so here is a real world, reported about 5 years ago by CNBC. And one day, the stock market, a trading chart you see on the right-hand side, there's a sudden jump. 4% of the whole trading volume is automatically generated by the computer. People wondering why, who's doing that? Nobody's doing that. It's the algorithm. There is somebody created an algorithm, suddenly, jumped up the trading volume. Of course, in the end, the trades are not executed because the algorithm kind of, requests the trade and then withdraw it, request the trade and then withdraw it. I think people are just testing the market or testing the system, see how much volume they can handle that. It's all automatic. And a lot of the trading, actual trading, are actually done by the computers these days. So you see how the algorithm can be powerful and have a big impact on our life now. And there will be more so in the future. And just one clarification is that there's always a kind of confusion between algorithm and the actual coding or programming. Sorry, this is my screen. And so we always start with the problem we want to solve, right? Our end result is a program that can run and actually solve the problem, but an algorithm is in between. So you can write an algorithm, and that same algorithm can be implemented in many different ways, and by different languages it can be done. The same algorithm can be implemented by C++, can be implemented by Java or even C. That's the programming part of that. Of course, they're correlated to learn algorithm. Often we want people to write program and implement the algorithm because the best way of learning that is actually doing it, right? But algorithm itself can be generic, and actually a lot of the algorithm exists way before even computers created, and so it can be implemented in many different ways. Okay, so with that, any questions? All right, let's go to the island then. So need to share the screen. So you can see the island, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a student view. Okay. So you don't see any of the section yet, and it's going to be. I'm going to open it up. Every Wednesday morning, you will see them. And a couple of things you're familiar with: the news forum that I will, and the TA. We're still searching for a TA. We'll send out anything with the news forum, and the discussion forum is for you to raise questions and help each other discuss any topics you like. And here is the syllabus you can download. Okay, there are a couple of other useful resources. If you're new to Video Studio, and this one is a very helpful guide on how to create a project, for example, using the Video Studio. And one thing which is quite important, that when you create a project using Video Studio, make sure the type of the project is a command line application rather than a window application, because if you create a Windows application, you will throw in a lot of window standard window package and so on. And I'm using Mac, so I installed Xcode. And for the programming project, all I need from you is the source code. And I'm going to compile it under the Xcode. And so I don't really care about which IDE you use, but if you use Video Studio, it's okay. I need make sure that I don't include Microsoft Windows specific packages. And if you want to brush up your C++ skills, this is a link that points to a lot of very useful C++ materials. Okay. And also, in addition to that, the textbook also contains a lot of the C++ schedule. In fact, our first week is going to start from chapter 6 of the textbook, and before chapter 6, they're all talking about the C+ programming, and that's another useful, very useful material for C++. Now, the link to the textbook is a little bit of a problem, right? I think this is the one that give you the trouble. Oh, page not found, right? And it's actually not that important. It doesn't really give you can find another link here, which goes to the website of this book, okay? And so I will post this link or update the link there as well. And once, so this textbook is required. And a lot of the programming assignments are going to utilize some of the codes, provided by this textbook. Okay, so it's very rich on C++ programming examples, but they're not very comprehensive in terms of explaining the algorithm. So there will be a video each week. There will be a set of video that complement that the textbook by the video will explain a lot of the algorithm, how they work, and giving a lot of examples. They're really good stuff. And I have not found an online version of this textbook, so I assume you're going to get a hard copy of this one. If you do find an online version, let me know. However, I have an online version of the textbook.
How did you find it then?
Does anybody know how to find an online version of it? Yeah, I will
Type the name of the title and then put the word PDF after it on Google.
No, there's no PDF. There is actually, you can try this later. You can, actually, there is a website called bookzz.org. And you can type in the title and see what you come up.
You said bookzz as in book, the letter zz.org?
Right, bookzz.org. And type in the name of the title of this textbook, see what it comes up. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, and that's the textbook. Let me go to the. So you can go through the syllabus. Let's go through the overview of it. And we won't go through everything. And let me bring that up. Gosh. So now you should see the syllabus, right?
Yes.
So the first thing is I haven't put my email there because my account was just created yesterday. So I'm going to add my email address into this if you need it later on. And the office hour, this is my proposed office hour, as I mentioned, because I still have a daytime job to work on. So evening is better for me. So I propose like 7 to 8. Looks like we're all in the same time zone. So if you prefer a different timeline, let me know. And Tuesday, because the project are usually due on Tuesday midnight, so I propose one on Tuesday in case you have you need some help. We're still searching for a TA, but if we do get a TA, the TA we should have office hours usually on Monday. So we have a Monday, Tuesday, to help you and any last minute things you need for completing the project. Any feedback on an office hour?
Those are good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
And I'm always open to other times if you say, I really need some help. I cannot make this timeline, and let me know. I'll just try to accommodate as much as possible. And this office is going to be on the Zoom. I'll send out the link. So I'll be just like today, I'm sitting, in front of my computer, and you can come in and go anytime, like you walk into the office. The only difference is I'll be just sitting at the comfort of my home rather than at the office. You're welcome to walk in anytime.
By the way, it looks like that book, I think I downloaded, I think it's on that website. I'm gonna open and check it, but it looks like it's there.
You already? Yeah, it's surprisingly, not many people are aware of that.
I didn't know about that website till you told me. I wish I knew about that a year ago.
And that's why sometimes I hate to share the link. Some people may not like it.
I have no problem with it. It'll be our little secret.
Yeah.
The rest of people will watch the video.
Yeah, that's an incentive for people to participate and watch the video, right?
Yeah, don't post it on the iLearn, only have it in the video, so people have to come to the video and go 30 minutes into it to actually get the link.
So watch the video. So let me just go to just to highlight a few things instead of going through everything in there. So our main topics for this class include some basic data structure like linked list, stack, queue, tree, graph. Some of them may overlap with previous data structures classes you've taken. And secondly, we'll talk about some really fundamental algorithm design techniques. There are certainly a lot more than this, but these are really the fundamental ones used in many problem solving, like divide and conquer, decrease and conquer, sorting, various sorting algorithm and techniques. And the last one is on the graph algorithm, which is the most complex one for this class. And one of the important aspects of algorithm design is how well it performs, right? So we need to analyze the performance algorithm. And when you say, hey, I have an algorithm which is better than the other one, what do you mean? Why is it better? Or this one is more efficient, in terms of time and space. So there is a common way of analyzing the performance of algorithm, like big O notation. That one of the weeks we'll cover that. And so there'll be plenty of hands-on, assignments for you to do and learn by doing, of course. And so, the course structure, right? So every week, starting from January 4th, that's our first Wednesday, from the island, you will see the section for that week, and then we'll include a list of readings you need to go through, a list of videos you need to watch that kind of cover the fundamentals. And also there'll be a set of written questions and labs and programming assignment. And they are due the next Tuesday midnight. But except that, this one, but I just want to repeat again. The last one is a little bit crazy. The last one is like you release the module on Wednesday, but everything is going to be due on Friday. Okay, so you basically have 2 days to go through the fundamentals of the materials and do the assignment.
Could you like release that week early for us then? Would that be possible?
I could.
Would you mind?
There is another module with the previous week as well, right? So you're talking about working on 2 modules in week. I think it's reasonable. I will release it, earlier. It's reasonable.
Okay.
And there is supposedly a final exam next day. But one thing is I'm going to make a final exam a written project. I'll take home, not written, but take a home project instead of in class. So you could start like earlier. And I will provide you some guidelines about the project. You can have some freedom of creating the specific project, but I'll provide you some guidelines, 1 week or 2 weeks before, so you can be prepared for that. And of course, it's going to be due on Saturday, February 25th. And for the midterm, it's going to be just a sit down like in the classroom, and everybody is supposed to turn on the videos, okay? And I'll be the monitor, just like in the classroom. And it will be closer book. It will include both the written questions and some programming.
What day of the week did you say the midterm was?
The midterm is, let me see, do I have it here? Okay, so it's on the syllabus. It's gonna be what's your day it is? It's on a Saturday. Okay, it's on a Saturday. The 4th week.
Yeah, I work on Saturday, so.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I think people schedule the Saturday because it's expected. So we'll talk about that, the exact time. Maybe if there's a 9 o'clock or in the morning or in the afternoon, we can be flexible, I think, on that one. Any questions? So one of the things I'd like to say it again is about the participation. One of my teaching style or experience is to encourage students to participate as much as possible, because I strongly believe that participation is a key part of the learning experiences. Now, participation can take many different forms. Not necessarily attending the class. Actually, attending the class these days is not required. Most of this participation can be done online, like through the online forums. Here are some examples. You're sharing the information you learned. A website which has a very good video explaining the binary tree algorithm or the animation stuff, and a very good problem-solving example and somewhere as well. And also, here is something that I'm going to experiment a little, is to maybe ask some of you, if you choose to maybe take a short video, present, sharing how you solve a particular problem, a particular programming assignment, for example, then you will get some extra credit for that. And so I'm trying to experiment to see how effective that is, and we can send me the feedback. And of course, I'm also open for new idea how to participate. You have to think about some of the options. Hey, I can do this. Maybe this could be considered extra credit. I'll be open to consider that. And so the reason that participation is important is that there is a saying called, you really don't learn until you actually teach it. So part of the learning is when you share your knowledge, your solution with other people, you're teaching it. It actually enhances your learning. I know that some of you actually have a lot of good experiences that you can learn from each other and help from each other. And that's participation that really helps learning as well. And in some aspect that when I'm teaching the classes, and I also learn a lot. I learn from various students as well. So, okay. So before I go to the last one, to-do list, any questions? So you have a good idea about how this class is going to be structured, or what you need to, what it will cover, and the type of workload, the textbook, and so on.
I have a quick question. Are there going to be any group projects at all, or is it all going to be by yourself stuff?
That's a very good question. I'm waiting for somebody to ask about it. I'm glad you raised it. So there isn't, the labs, the programming assignments are all designed to be done by individual. So you can do it without a group, okay? However, if you choose, on a voluntary basis, if you say, I'm going to work with another person, we collaborate with each other on that one, it's okay. I mean, you're allowed to do so. And you can, during on the submission, you can explain, so this assignment is done in collaboration with somebody else, and what's the nature of collaboration, basically, what's the contribution, and so on. But the grading and, assignment, all of these things is going to be based on your individual submission. Okay.
So if we choose to actually work on these weekly assignments in a group format, that's acceptable, that's allowed?
It is allowed, yeah. You're just going to say on the submission that, this is we, collaborator, who collaborate with each other. And, but I will treat each submission individually. And when you say that, I found, okay, 2 of you, how come 12 of you have the exact same solution? I wonder why. And that your explanation of collaboration will say, okay, you guys work together on that one, that's fine.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Because it's very, very hard, actually, in my experience, it's very hard to mandatory or require a group to do certain things. And given the nature, people spread around all over the place. And sometimes you have a form the group at the beginning of the class, like 2 to 3 people. And I got students saying, hey, that guy never showed up. He never contributed. Why should I put his name on this one, right? And then a group project means you got a group score. Everybody on the group receive the same score. You say, well, that's not fair. This guy never helped anything, and so on, and that type of thing. So it will be allowed. It will be on a voluntary basis. But grading, submission is only going to be based on individual. And the programs are designed to be done on the individual basis, so you don't have any disadvantage. You say, oh, other people, they're collaborating, I'm not collaborating, I cannot complete, this assignment by myself. That's not going to be an excuse for that. Hopefully that clarifies, Wendy. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I just have one last thing is about the to-do list. I put together a few bullet items for you to check on, right? And I'm going to post this on the island as well. So, first of all, you need to review details of the syllabus, okay? And also review the course pages on island and some of the links that you want to check on, and get the textbook, right? There is a trick, to get some, free textbook, I would say that. And install the IDE, and if you choose, it's not mandatory. You can, if you have a Linux, you just choose to work with the command line using GCC, that's fine. For computer science, we don't need the fancy GUI stuff, but IDE does help, okay? Just make sure you install that, and have any questions, feel free to ask them out. And brushing up your C++ skills, whether you have done that before or not. I just want to make sure, you're still, comfortable with that, and run a few examples. And because when this class starts, the first week, there will be several C++ programming assignment. So you want to be sure to be ready.
And when we turn those in, you're just going to want the CPP files, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? All right, with that, I wish all of you a very happy holiday and look forward to a very, very good class with you.
Sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Have a
much.
good holiday.
Yeah.
Happy holidays.
Everyone.